long journeys these horses are on, in really poor conditions.
We had everything from Irish thoroughbreds to young unhandled cobs to horses that could potentially even be riding ponies like Connemara's.
It's not just about the horses, it's the hidden dangers that they carry. And in the case of the horses that we took in, that hidden danger is strangles. So we've taken in horses from the illicit smuggling trade through Dover and brought them into this yard really to try to support the horses as well as understand what this issue is. So these horses aren't just individuals, they are part of something much bigger that World Horse Welfare is putting a huge amount of resource into trying to understand and raise awareness. Many of the horses have come from the island of Ireland through Great Britain, are destined for an unknown future on the continent. This horse smuggling is causing untold misery and, in this case, spread of disease. We're supporting the horses that are coming in here that have fallen on hard times. Many of them are unwell, they're immunosuppressed, they're carrying diseases, they've been shipped long distances, and our farms are where they end up, and we do our very best to get them back on track and rehome them. Sadly, with those horses has come hidden issues. They brought strangles, a highly infectious disease, and we're well used to dealing with infectious diseases. Our yards can cope with that, but in this instance, even with the protocols that we've got, the strangles are spread to other horses, and that's what we're having to deal with now. There's a huge stigma around strangles, and one of the biggest problems is that people just aren't prepared to talk about it. It gets glossed over, it gets hushed up. We're not only treating these horses, but we're keen to tell you how we're doing that and be really honest about the problems that we face. It's a big impact on our yard.
So when we found out some of these horses were suffering from strangles, we set up some quite strict biosecurity measures. So we put all our horses into groups of zones. So those zones were colour-coded red, amber and green. So the horses that were infected were in the red zone. The horses that may have been near a horse that's been infected, or we might have worked with the same horses, went into amber, and then the green zone is the clean zone, the horses that probably haven't been in any contact with the horses that were infected. So when we did that, we split our team up into working in the different zones. So the same team members work in the same zone every day. So you can't switch zones. So the same people are doing the same horses, which works really well with the treatment. So they can continually assess how the horses are getting along with the strangles and how they're coping. If they've got abscesses, they can check the size, and if they burst, they can see how quickly the recovery is. And also that's good for them to monitor the nasal discharge as well, and also taking the horses' temperatures. So if we do it every day, then the same people know if the temperature's gone up or down. So when we get to the fields, everything is set up sort of outside the fields. So you'll have overalls, gloves, sprayers, disinfectant foot dips. Each horse has their individual head collars and lead ropes, which are left outside the field, and their feed buckets as well. So if they've needed a feed, that will all be there for the horse. They will then go in and treat the horses, feed them as needed, check all the horses in the field, come out, and then they will disinfect everything that's been inside the field, disinfect themselves, and bin everything. So some of the horses that have strangles don't seem to suffer too badly. So some of them will just have a bit of nasal discharge. They have a high temperature, usually just for a few days, and then they seem to recover quite quickly. But some of our horses, so they've had abscesses burst out under their jaws or on the side of their necks, near their ears. So we clean them daily or as the horse will let us. Some of the horses at first have needed to have sedation to be able to be cleaned, and generally as they become less painful, they're better for us to do, and then we can closely monitor them. Some of the horses, when they had the temperature, were shaking as well, and were off their feed, so it's counting the number of droppings they're doing as well, just so we don't have a side effect of anything like colic as well. Some horses, they just develop the antibodies needed, and their body will just fight off the disease, and once it's gone, they seem to have a bit of an immunity to strangles in the future. But some horses, it just seems to affect a lot worse than others. Sometimes that's due to their age. Here on our yard at the moment, it seems to be the younger horses under 5 years old seem to be suffering more with the strangles than the ones that are sort of between 5 and 15. They don't seem to have had it as bad or not had it at all. And so I think the younger ones just seem to have less immunity. When we think our horses have strangles, we will take their temperature, and that's a really good guide. If it's above 38.5, then it's quite likely to have a fever. The horse often looks a bit down and depressed, sometimes with nasal discharge and sometimes with abscesses. Generally, if they've got that, then we know we've got strangles on our yard, so we treat that as strangles. When they've stopped showing signs and symptoms for 21 days, we will then guttural pouch each individual horse. So it'll be a guttural pouch wash and a nasal wash, where a sample will be taken, and that will go off to a lab and be tested to say whether they've still got strangles or whether they're clean. When they do the guttural pouch wash, they're also looking for pus in the guttural pouch pockets and chondroids. If chondroids have developed, the horse might have become a carrier, which means it will need then treatment, which will be a guttural pouch treatment. So our horses are currently having 3 treatments, and then after that we'll do another guttural pouch wash to see if they are negative to strangles.
The problem is there's no simple test for it. We have to look right up in the back of their throat with a fibre optic scope. It's not simple. So as we begin the battle to clear this yard of strangles, the first thing, separate the horses and understand where it is.
So on the farm we have about 111 horses at the moment, so it's been really hard with the biosecurity measures in place just to keep everything into their zones and to stop the strangles spreading. So at the moment our plan is to guttural pouch wash everything on the farm to check that they are clean, and we're doing that in a way of doing it in the zones as well. So anything that came down with strangles first will have their guttural pouch washes first, and then move our way through the farm. And even the horses that we felt are clean, haven't shown any signs or symptoms of strangles, we'll still have a guttural pouch wash here just to doubly make sure. So if you're concerned about disease on your own yard, take the horse's temperature, because that's a really good guide to whether, if they've got a fever, it's likely to be something infectious. Not always, but it's quite likely. So isolate that horse, so remove it from the field if it's out with others. Completely clean the water supply that they've been in with, so disinfect that, and just try to disinfect anything that they might have touched, the fencing, any tools that you use to muck out your stables, so everything is then clean. So move the horse into a stable or field on its own, and then regularly take the temperature. Obviously if you need your vet out, get your vet out, and the vet can do a guttural pouch wash to confirm whether it is strangles or it isn't.
So many horse owners will be very fearful of strangles. We know how infectious it is and how easily it can spread, and what's happened here, that our yard has been shut down, is what many people would fear about. That's why it is significant, as well as the disease that it causes in horses. And that's one of the reasons why we're taking it so seriously to try and get on top of it. It's imperative for us to solve this. If we don't, it's going to stop the normal functioning of this yard to be able to bring in horses that we want to rescue and rehabilitate. And that is why it's so imperative we clear this infection up as soon as we can. And it's also the impact on our people. I know how much our team care about these horses, but they also go home to their own horses, and the effort they have to put in to make sure that they're clean and not taking this disease home, that is a big piece of work. This beautiful Connie here, who's had strangles, has bounced back, grazing in the sunshine today. Our team are looking after them brilliantly. So when we think about the impact of this, it's not just financial. It is, in fact, we've got a closed visitor centre. We have got a huge cost of dealing with these animals. We can't do that without your support. So please think carefully about whether you can help us carry on this vital work.